What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. I wanted to talk about a surprise standout from Jets OTAs and someone who is projecting to be a starter on the interior defensive line. And it comes as a little bit of a surprise. Not a huge surprise, but I guess allow me to explain. So Jets OTAs, at least the first version, came and went. And, we recently discussed the Joe Tippmann versus Josh Myers conversation the other day. But there's another position we need to look at who is going to be starting next to Quinnen Williams. Now, that pretty much all offseason has been a spot where I shrug my shoulders and I go, I don't know. I have no idea who is going to be starting next to Quinnen Williams, Leonard Taylor. We'll go through a bunch of different guys, but Zach Rosenblatt in his report on OTAs said that Byron Cowart really stood out. So I'll give you the quote from Rosenblatt on Cowart's performance. Byron Cowart actually stood out to me next to Quinnen. He looked really good. He is probably the favorite to start, I would say. He was getting a lot of pressure. I think he has a really good shot to start next to Quinnen Williams, and good for him. That's actually a signing I really didn't mind. I thought, for depth, right? Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, this guy's going to be, the second coming here, but I thought, reasonable depth swing. Last year in Chicago, he had both a good run stop rate and pressure rate in limited snaps. I believe he was getting like 22 snaps a game, which isn't, crazy low, but he's not a starter. Maybe this is someone that Aaron Glenn looks at and thinks, hey, we can get more out of this guy in our defense. And with Steve Wilks, a veteran defensive coordinator who's been around the league for a long time, and Aaron Glenn, who, comes from the defensive side of the football, you have to kind of, in a way, see the vision on that side of the ball and trust their gut with a guy like Cowart. Now, there's other candidates who could eventually win this job, right? Like, I don't think anything that happens in May isn't guaranteed to stick in August and September, right? Like, there's a lot of potential change, but I think it's worthwhile to talk about who's the leader in the clubhouse right now, and then look at how does that change in, mini camp, and how does it change in training camp, and maybe someone has a strong training camp and surpasses him. But I think it's good to contextualize just where these guys are at, and they're going to be looking at a long look at all these guys. Derek Nottie, I thought probably was the favorite to win that job. And, maybe he's more of an early down guy. Fedarian Mathis is someone that, is hanging around on this roster. Leonard Taylor's a guy that Jet fans really like, a undrafted free agent from a year ago. Had a strong preseason and training camp, makes the team. Looked okay to me in a limited sample size. I think he's an easy guy to root for as a UDFA, and I think there's a good chance he still makes this roster, but I'm kind of hoping he takes that next step. I think he provides the highest ceiling out of any of these guys here. And then Jay Tufele is another body on the interior that maybe he's fighting for playing time, but Nottie, honestly, was my guess of who was going to play, but you can't rule out Cowart, and if he had a good performance in OTAs, you're kind of just hoping that continues on to the next step here in mini camp in a few weeks. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Where's your head at with who is going to be the starter next to Quinnen Williams? And again, I'm not going to hold you to it now in May, but I'm just curious to see where Jet fans are and what they think is going to happen at that position, because it's a position we discussed a lot. It was a major need, and I still don't think there's a definitive answer out there. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you next time.